So this is our booth on male awareness, and actually our organization, the P. Luna Foundation, is having male abuse awareness week. Our purpose is to eradicate the social stigma that males cannot be abuse victims just like females, because males just like women can be victims to domestic violence, sexual abuse, childhood traumas, emotional violence, mental abuse, and any other crimes and abuses that are out there. Regardless if their perpetrators were men or women, men can be victims as well.
I think kind of like a bullying, lots of bullying for the most part. When I think male abuse, most of the time I think just kind of like male on male violence. Maybe like prison kind of comes to mind, but I'm thinking more. I lean more towards kind of like school bully violence.
I think of my family and friends who've voiced to me their experiences as victims growing up, and I think of a lot of men in our prison systems that are men that are incarcerated at the moment who are also suffering. I think of a lot of what people don't consider male abuse that is technically brushed off most of the time.
I think of a lot of things. I think of underrepresentation. I'm very certain that not a lot of people think of it. And it's most likely stigmatized as well, even within the male community. I wouldn't imagine a lot of people, or males, would want to talk about their abuse and things of that sort because of the male narrative here in America.
Yes, because my current boyfriend actually was abused when he was younger, about age 7 or 8, by his older cousin, and he told me that story. And even though it hurt, it doesn't make a difference of who they actually are as a person, if they've been abused or not.
Yes.
Would you think he was gay?
No. Yeah, I have in the past.
Would you think he was gay?
No.
I don't know, because he probably has like a lot of baggage and probably messed up mentally from that trauma.
So is it sort of is it almost, I wouldn't say a prejudice, but something you would hold against him?
Yeah.
You know, I would never say that, but it might be possible that like in the back of my head, like I would immediately think like, oh, it must have been a man who abused him, because it wouldn't be like my first thing to think like a woman abused him, you know, like it's just not something. But I mean, you know, I'm learning that's not true.
No, because there are many people, like even between people I know, who's not gay and they've been sexually abused when they were younger.
Why would I do that?
Extremely. You know, I think, I think it's made worse by like the society that we live in, because like the standards for machismo are so skewed and so like grand, like you have to be like this Adonis of a man in order for like you to really be a man or whatever. So like I think it's very, very dangerous, like, and very effective.
A lot, because your developing minds may not, will have like some impact for later in life, especially when you're developing wise. Yes.
So you think that if a man comes and says that my girlfriend's beating me, would you laugh at him? What would you tell him to do?
I laugh at him, and then I find out the reason, and I find out more information.
Yes, they can. It's not just women who are victims, but males are too. And again, my boyfriend is an example of, he was raped and he was domestically abused as a younger child by a family member. So it happens to any race, gender, sexual orientation, or religion.
I'd tell him that he should look for someone who can relate to it more than I could, because obviously I don't know what that's like. But if it was a boy that it was close to me, who I was really close with, like friends, cousins, I would tell them that if they needed help from me, that I would definitely step in, because I know there's still that like social stigma, like you can't hit a woman no matter what. So if he can't defend himself, I would defend for him, because it's not right.
I would tell him that he should probably reconsider his relationship that he's in, because, you know, people using violence against each other in a way that's regular enough that this person feels like it's necessary to come out and talk about it, I mean, that's a problem.
Okay.
So you should assess if there's other things in this relationship that might or might not make it worth it.
Wow, that's a very interesting thing because that's not a situation that you come across very often. I would definitely make them aware of their legal rights. So I would really tell them to get some type of legal counseling on this, because it would be the exact same thing I would do for a woman had she came to me about that. I would feel that something like that needed to be reported, and some type of legal action would need to be taken against that because it's very unfair.
Yeah, why not? We already have them for homeless. Well, yeah. But yeah, so maybe something different would be better too.
There should be shelters for anyone that is a victim.
Shelters, I mean, that is one way to go about it. I do feel more so that it would need to be a community thing versus an actual government policy. So if the community would have more awareness about something like this, the community itself could step up and help particular males who have been abused, just as many communities, say the black community, does for black women.
Yeah, it is a hard subject to talk about because it's like a guy just getting taken advantage of. It's hard to even think about, so nobody really wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think people think of it as seriously as people should, because of that whole social stigma of males having to be very strong, very in control of everything. And so just the idea of having like a male figure as kind of vulnerable, I feel like that's still taboo in societies.
I would say I personally feel quite comfortable with it. I haven't always, because it was kind of a process of me deconstructing a lot of programming that I experienced growing up in the culture I grew up in both in African and Arab culture, which are kind of the cross of what I grew up in, and even just in American culture. We're trained to guys aren't supposed to talk about feelings and stuff. So. But now, I have a friend who was experiencing a lot of emotional abuse, and I was able to help him through that. So it helped me be more comfortable.
Well, we need more visibility on it. I mean, a lot of people don't think this is plausible that it can even happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good idea for anyone to get help, no matter what kind of abuse, especially men, because there's such a stigma that men have to be stronger and they can't be knocked down by things like, oh, you got abused by a woman. Come on, you're bigger than her, you're stronger than her. It's just a woman, you probably liked it. No, you need to get help no matter what. Because if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And I think it's wrong when people are like, oh, you liked it, it's fine. No, it's not. It's never okay.
Well, definitely. As growing up, my father was sexually abused, and he's allowed me to openly say that, and to as I've experienced the effects it has posed on our family, and I've encouraged him as well to seek counseling and rehabilitation, which we're still in the process of that, getting that, but I've definitely seen how it has affected my family, and himself. Most importantly, I would definitely encourage all men, and I'm really appreciative of this actually.
Men shouldn't feel inferior. They shouldn't feel that they can't get help because there are support for them. They shouldn't feel weak because they probably feel that if they've been sexually abused, that they are weak and that they are lower, but everybody is getting abused, so I feel like they should just get help, and I would support anybody who gets help.
Child abuse. Well, I was a victim of child abuse growing up, and it is definitely something that needs to be treated or helped with. Treatment kind of has its own negative stigma around it, but definitely getting some type of counseling around it, because you never know what type of behaviors it will influence, especially being that you won't get your voice heard, being that you were abused by a majority of individuals. So you definitely need to seek appropriate help for certain types of situations.
I just want everybody to know, it's a real problem. A lot of people think that it's just women out there that are getting abused, but it's everybody. It's just not one gender, one race, one ethnicity, or anything like that. Is everybody is equally getting abused, at least in this context, and at least just kind of have a bigger open-mindedness when it comes to even males being abused instead of just only